Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Every now and then, there is a story which makes a journalist and which should definitely make you as a viewer wonder on what really is ethics and what is ethical. Mahua Moitra has been officially expelled by the Ethics Committee in Parliament. We'll tell you exactly how. And that aside, what are the benefits of that or why that happened, all of that aside, keep that aside. But do think of a fact. When we're talking about ethics, at the same time, the likes of Brij Bhushan Sharan, who the topmost athletes of this country have laid the most grave charges of sexual harassment, continues to be in Parliament. Is that ethical? Or more so, you had a member of Parliament who just about a month ago stood up and used language, of course expunged, but I can't even say because it was communally that charged, make a statement on the floor of the House, and he still continues to be there. Is that ethical? But Mahua Moitra has been expelled by the Ethics Committee. We'll get down to what really happened. Here's more.
Direct involvement in cash work query in Parliament with reference to the examination and investigation of the alleged unethical conduct of Srimati Mahua Moitra.
Chaos unfolded in Parliament. At the center of it all, the Trinamool leader, Mahua Moitra herself.
दिनांक 8 दिसंबर 2023 को सभा पटल पर रखे गए आचार संहिता की प्रति रिपोर्ट में नीति सिफारिशों से सहमत है। जो सदस्य इसके प्रस्ताव के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो विरोध में ना गए, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हुआ।
The outspoken ex-Lok Sabha member grappling with a cash for query allegations expelled from the Lok Sabha after the motion was put to vote.
Following that this House do agree with the recommendation contained.
The decision followed the Lok Sabha Ethics Committee presenting and tabling its report in the House,
Dated 15th October 20.
recommending her expulsion from the Lok Sabha over accusations of accepting bribes from businessman Darshan Hiranandani in exchange for submitting pre-approved questions in the House. The Congress stood firmly behind Moitra in the House, requesting time to review the report and an opportunity for the accused MP to present her defence in the Lok Sabha.
तो इसलिए मैं आप मेरा तरफ से मेरी पार्टी की तरफ से सर आपसे ये मांग भी रखी है कि 3-4 दिन की मोहलत अब दिया करो और इस बीच हम सही ढंग से पढ़े विचार विमर्श करें और फिर सदन में आकर एक सही ढंग से चर्चा कर जो आप चाहते हैं।
जो अखबारों में पढ़ा उससे बहुत साफ तौर पर ये चीज निकल के आई कि जिनको अभियुक्त बनाया गया, जिनके ऊपर लांछन लगाए गए, उनको अपनी बात पूरी तरह रखने का मौका भी नहीं दिया गया। ये किस तरह का प्रोसीजर है?
The Speaker dismissed requests from both the Congress and Mahua's own party, the Trinamool, to allow her to present her case in the House, citing a precedent from a 2005 incident when several MPs were expelled from the House over cash for query allegations in a similar manner. The BJP supported the Ethics Committee's recommendations, asserting that proper procedures were followed in its proceedings.
एथिक्स कमेटी के सामने माननीय सांसद महोदया को पूरा मौका मिला, उनकी बात रखने का मौका मिला और मिस्टर हीरानंदानी जो इस कंपनी के प्रमुख है और जिनके पास से गिफ्ट्स और पैसे लेने के जो आरोप यहाँ पे थे, उसमें मिस्टर हीरानंदानी ने खुद एफिडेविट कर एथिक्स कमेटी को दिया है और वो जो एफिडेविट उन्होंने किया है वो इंडियन एम्बेसी के डेप्यूटी काउंसलेट जनरल जो दुबई में है उनके सामने शपथ लेकर उन्होंने ये एफिडेविट किया हुआ है। सर, ये पक्ष या विपक्ष का सवाल नहीं है, ये संसद की मर्यादा का सवाल है।
By the majority.
With Congress leader Sonia Gandhi and other allies standing in solidarity firmly behind the expelled Trinamool MP.
Justice has been denied to Mahua Moitra.
The expelled MP from West Bengal denounced the decision as a kangaroo court judgment. She insists that the Ethics Committee had no evidence of bribes exchanged as alleged in the original complaint.
It refused to summon the businessmen to orally testify, and there is no evidence of any cash, of any gifts anywhere. The recommendation of expulsion is based solely on the ground that I have shared my Lok Sabha portal login.
Mahua Moitra also refuted accusations of sharing login credentials.
All of us MPs are conveyor belts to get questions from the public, from citizens, and to voice that in Parliament.
A new rallying point for the India alliance as they walk united once again. After appearing disjointed earlier this week following the Congress's drubbing in the Hindi heartland, could this be a new signal moment for opposition unity? With Polami Saha in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Politically, viewers, things will explode, but what is the way out legally where it comes down to Mahua Moitra from here? Is it the end of the road for Mahua Moitra? Nalini Sharma is going to tell us more. Nalini, take us through the options that lie in front of Ms. Moitra now.
Well, Preeti, first and foremost, as it's popularly known, Mahua Moitra, of course, has the option of going ahead either to the High Court or the Supreme Court, challenging the decision of the ethics panel itself. Now, what she and several other opposition members have said is that she did not get a fair hearing before the ethics panel. She was not even given a chance to cross-examine Mr. Hiranandani on the sworn affidavit that he had submitted. So, keeping all of that in mind, she can make those claims and approach a court seeking for this decision to be reviewed through a judicial order. And then it remains to be seen exactly what the court does as to whether or not there is prima facie enough material in her plea for a court to even entertain the petition. The second option for Mahua Moitra is to challenge the jurisdiction of the ethics committee itself. What this means is to challenge the fact that the ethics committee should not have delved into this matter and that they did not have the power to decide as to what the outcome of this should be, as to whether or not Mahua Moitra should be disqualified. The reason for saying that is because a lot of experts that we've spoken to over the course of the past few hours have suggested that the ethics panel should not have looked into this. It should have instead been the privileges committee of the parliament that should have looked into this aspect as to whether or not whether sharing the login credentials was not permitted, and two, whether there was any exchange or illegal gratification that was received by Mahua Moitra. The third option that she has, which she has already exercised, is through the defamation case that's already going on in Delhi High Court. Now, the charges in the defamation case are the same, that because through Hiranandani, she received several gifts, because of which, in return of which, she asked questions before the floor of the House. So in case through this defamation case, it's proven that these charges or these allegations are in fact frivolous and have no merit, then she can use that judicial court order as a way to get this entire thing overturned. But it remains to be seen what she needs to do, because the elections are just upcoming. So as to whether or not she'll even exercise these options is something that remains to be seen, Preeti.
Well, you know what, we are given an indication that she might not do that, but having said that, appreciate you joining us, Nalini. With that, let's cut across to our political panelist, Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson, national spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, Riju Datta, national spokesperson, TMC. Shazia, let me, come to you first. The merits of the case, we will go in detail, but I'll ask you, as a journalist, as a viewer, as a citizen, does it bother you a little when we talk about ethics? A Brij Bhushan Sharan, who's been charged of sexual harassment of our top Olympians, is still in Parliament. Mr. Biduri, who used the most communal language while on the floor of the Parliament, is still in Parliament. That is ethical, but this isn't. Shazia, that's for you. All right, we seem to be having a bit of a problem. You're going to try and connect to Shazia. But let's cut across to Riju Datta for a quick comment. Riju, coming in, what's the way out? How is the TMC now? Finally, you've come to the party, one would say. For a very long time, you'd left Mahua Moitra to fight on her own. Now you have, your party leader, everyone coming together. Hopefully, for the opposition, I'm sure, the India Alliance would hope that this would be one moment where the alliance can come together. What now from here?
See, first of all, we never left Mahua Moitra. We always said, and our National General Secretary said in front of the press, that we believe that Mahua Moitra is quite competent enough to fight her own battle. The party was with her, is with her, and will be with her, and she will be our Krishnanagar Lok Sabha candidate, as per the words of our leader, Ms. Mamata Banerjee. Now, the bottom line here is, if I can go into, our scriptures, Mahabharata was fought to defend the honor of a woman. Lanka was burnt to defend the honor of a woman. From insulting Mamata Banerjee to the Mahua Moitra being expelled from the parliament, once again BJP has showed that they are anti-women. They cannot tolerate women in authority, they cannot tolerate women in power, and they definitely cannot tolerate a woman asking questions.
No, one second. Okay. Listen, I have a question, and I'm going to bring in Shazia in just about a minute, and that's very clear. How is it about women? This is about ethics. This is not about women. Number one. Number two, yes, you have every right. Yeah. Go ahead. You have every right to question on why this suspension has happened without proper investigation, but to play the woman card in this is unethical.
See, first of all, it is an ethics-less committee, and what they have done is, let me just brief your viewers about certain things. What are the allegations? That cash for query. Is there till now, even after her expulsion, one evidence that has come in front of the people of this country that she has taken money to ask questions? Is there even one evidence of it? No. Okay. Is there any rule that ID and login passwords cannot be shared by your to anybody?
All right. Okay. All right. We're having a fabulous day on the show today, but both our guests are losing their connection. But we're going to come back to Riju Datta. But let's cut across. Shazia is with us. Shazia, the question that I asked you with, number one, the merits of the case we will discuss and we will go into it. But number one, Shazia, ethical, when you come down to it, is a big quandary today, because you have a Brij Bhushan Sharan who's been charged by Olympians of our country of sexually harassing them, is sitting in parliament. You have Mr. Biduri, who got up and used the most communally explicit language, is still in parliament. How is that ethical?
No, they are not ethical, and I'm not talking about those either, because today we are discussing Mahua Moitra and her ignominious suspension from parliament. And those issues have been discussed not once but many times, and I have been on several channels not defending those either. But here is a very clear question. Questions have been asked on Dhamra Port, on Kolkata Port Trust, on H Energy, at the behest of one business tycoon and a big industrialist, talking about another industrialist. And there is not just talk but actual acknowledgement of the fact done by Mahua Moitra herself, the Honorable MP, I don't know whether I can still call her that, not honorable, but I mean the MP bit, who admits to having given her login credentials to that particular businessman. And how is that ethical is also the question. And I think that is the reason. So 2 wrongs or 3 wrongs don't make one right, you see. And we are discussing that. Other bits, yes, where Brij Bhushan is concerned, there is an inquiry happening right now as we speak, and is no longer part of the parliament. As for the other
he is a part of the parliament, ma'am.
Yes. No, in the sense
he is a part of the parliament. Mr. Biduri, both are part of the parliament. They go and attend every session.
He is part of the parliament, but the fact is that there is an inquiry and investigation in place. Where Biduri is concerned, there was a show cause notice and he has been told off. And I'm not saying what he said was correct. Many of us went out of our way to say, no, we do not agree with this. But right now, do we want to discuss? Do we want to discuss?
Let's discuss. No. I'll tell you why I brought it up.
Do we want to conflate all the issues? Is it about Mahua Moitra? Or you think because Biduri has said what he did, it's all right for Mahua Moitra to actually accept cash / gifts for asking questions? And
okay, ma'am, now let me come. No, I'll tell you why.
Credentials to a businessman and to have 36 visits abroad sponsored by the same
Shazia, nobody
is that
was...
all right?
Okay, no, let me come back. It's not conflating the issue, but when we talk about ethics...
It is an issue.
Let me finish, madam. Let me finish my question to you. When we talk about... Because these were issues which were way before Mahua Moitra allegations erupted. So... the fact that a Brij Bhushan Sharan is still in parliament, many of us will find unethical, right? And including you, I would hope. But having said that, let's keep that aside. Let's talk about Mahua Moitra. You're right, it's about Mahua Moitra. 3 quick questions and I will bring in Riju Datta. Number one, you talk about cash for query. Where has it been proven that she's taken cash, even in that affidavit? Number one. Number two, there's been no quid pro quo, even as per the affidavit. The questions that she asked on the pots that you just elucidated, nowhere has it been mentioned that it was asked by Mr. Hiranandani for her to take forward. Number three, how can all of these allegations be made without cross-questioning and examining the person in question who has given that affidavit?
Yes. So, Preeti, if you read the affidavit written by Hiranandani himself, he has said very clearly that, yes, I have logged in and this login and credentials were given to me by Mahua Moitra. And that,
other than login,
she was in a hurry. Yes, login, yes. And you think it's all right to give, for a parliamentarian to give her login ID to a corporate group and to her
Ma'am, I'm asking about quid pro quo and money being exchanged.
So why do you think she gave that? Why, when there's the same tender that 2 companies are fighting for, and there is corporate lobbying, which is a reality, and we all know about, and we also know that many corporates use members of parliament to fix their corporate brownie points and use parliamentarians. Why did Mahua Moitra agree to do that? If you see the questions that were asked, and which is why my first answer to you was very, very clear. I spoke specifically of the questions asked by Mahua Moitra.
Okay.
You are not letting me. Preeti, I don't know what is with you today. Preeti, go on. If you don't want me to answer, it's all right.
Ma'am, you've been talking ad nauseum. Please finish.
It's all right. You carry
on.
No. Preeti, I'm not interested at all. I'm not interested. You don't want to hear me. You have.
Ma'am, you are talking.
Right. Carry on. Preeti, I'm not interested at all. I'm not at all interested in answering your questions because you're not interested to listening to me.
Ma'am, you've been talking.
We all know. No, I'm not talking. I'm not being allowed to finish.
Ma'am, okay, you've spoken. There's a reason why I do this. There's a reason why I do this, ma'am.
Please carry on. Please carry on. No, I should not say. No, actually, it's absolutely fine. According to you, Preeti, it's absolutely fine to have Darshan Hiranandani, a corporate group who represents a big corporate group.
Ma'am, did you hear my question to Riju Datta? You were not patched earlier. Since then, you've been speaking. Therefore, I'm allowed to cross-question you. I'm the anchor. But go ahead, make your point. I'll go to Riju Datta after that.
Well, the questions on Dhamra Port and Kolkata Port Trust, where clearly there is a business interest of Darshan Hiranandani and not just do the energy company, knowing this very well, that whether it's telecom or real estate or IT or shopping malls or energy, in all these 5 sectors, where on which Mahua Moitra has asked questions not once but many times over. In fact, out of 61, she's asked 50 times the questions related to these are directly in conflict and business interest, corporate interest of one group. And that group happens to have her login credentials, and you think it's all right?
I'm not the one to think anything. Clearly, the Ethics Committee has thought otherwise. But Riju Datta, I want to bring you in. But the point that I was making, Shazia Ilmi, is that in the affidavit, nowhere does the quid pro quo tantamount, nowhere does an exchange of money come into question. That was my only submission. That's what I was saying, Shazia Ilmi.
I disagree with that also, Preeti, because you know why? Mahua herself has said, oh no, he didn't help me with the plan.
Okay, I want to, okay, ma'am, now please, let's be fair. Let me bring in Riju Datta. Okay, Riju Datta, please come in, answer to all those charges. Mahua Moitra was given fair amount of time to make her, submissions in front of the Ethics Committee. She chose to walk out, and the BJP has given it to theatrics and optics on that day. She had enough time to clear her stand.
Preeti, before I got cut, you asked me why you are playing the woman card. Because if you remember, when the Ethics Committee asked her to question, what is the case here? The case here is Darshan Hiranandani in an affidavit says that yes, I have accessed her ID and password, and apparently the allegation by Jay Anand Dehadrai and by Nishant Dubey, she has taken money to ask questions on behalf of a group, of an industrialist. Now, I am coming here to the moot points. The affidavit is not even worth the piece of paper it is written on. If somebody has given a bribe, if somebody has taken a bribe, if that is a crime, the person who has given a bribe.
Riju Datta, there's a fair point Shazia Ilmi has made. A fair point Shazia Ilmi has made. You have your MP who has shared her login with somebody else. That in effect is unethical, Riju Datta.
Right. Now you are talking about ethics. Now, please, I challenge from India today, from Narendra Modi to Chandrasekhar to Sadia Ilmi, show me one piece of paper, one article, one section of parliamentary rules and procedures where it categorically says a member of the parliament cannot share her login ID and password. Please,
so Shazia Ilmi, please respond and then we close the show. Shazia Ilmi, please respond.
So Preeti, through you, I would like to ask this question from Riju ji. Riju ji, do you think it's absolutely fine for a member of parliament to do corporate lobbying?
Don't interrupt Riju Datta. Please don't interrupt.
Riju ji, very kindly listen to me. This is a submission. Is it all right for a corporate group to use an MP's credentials, one, and to have all the questions that would benefit him to be asked from a member of parliament, and for the member of parliament herself not to give information about 36 of her foreign visits abroad, for which is mandatory for every member of parliament to at least inform the House. None of that was done. And for Darshan
20 seconds, Riju Datta, I need to close the show.
To admit to the fact that he is in fact
Shazia, 20 seconds, let me allow.
Sponsor of the trip.
Darshan Hiranandan is the blue-eyed boy of BJP because his largest investment is in Uttar Pradesh.
Okay, well, in midst of all of this,
Preeti, can I finish?
With due respect, I'm sorry I've run out of time, Riju. I'm sorry, you got cut off. I'm sorry I've run out of time. Apologies there to both our panelists if they wanted to get in an extra minute with that.